Nikki Stephanie Balenton, and for today, we were talking about Assessment in Learning 1 and Assessment in Learning 2. So I have here 4 questions to be read and to be answered. So keep watching so you know how to identify the correct answer in each questions. So for number 5, which is considered an assessment for learning. So A, giving grades to students. B, reporting to parents the performance of their child. C, recommending for new policies in grading students. D, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the student. So what do you think will be the answer? So the answer will letter D, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the student. So why not A, B, or C? So because assessment for learning is used to gather information about students' strengths and weaknesses to guide instructional decision and improve future learning. So why not A, B, or C? So giving grades is typically an assessment of learning, which is used to evaluate students' final performance rather than guide their future learning. How about B, reporting to the parents the performance of the child? So, reporting it is a form of assessment of learning and communicating outcomes after the learning process. And then the letter C is recommending for new policies in student grading. So, this involves decision making and policy change, which is unrelated to assessment for learning. So, the correct answer is letter D. D. Assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the students. So, next is which is being done if teacher Z is doing the assessment of learning. A, giving immediate feedback to the student's strengths and weaknesses. B, determining the area of interest of learners. C, certifying students' achievement. And D is designing a relevant instruction. So the correct answer is, the correct answer or the best answer is letter C. So certifying students' achievement. So why? Why does the certifying student achievement is the best for assessment of learning? So because it is summative in nature, meant to evaluate or certify the student's final achievement or outcomes of their learning. It focuses whether the student have met the learning objectives, often through test or assignment. So why not A? So A is giving immediate feedback to the student's strengths and weaknesses. So giving feedback is example of assessment for learning. Then letter B, determining the area of interest of learner. This part is formative assessment that informs teaching and learning and not a summative. Letter D is designing a relevant instruction. So this is not assessment but part of teaching process, and it is used in formative assessment and not for assessment of learning. So the correct answer is letter C. So next is, if you review the test item to ensure that all learners understood the context used, what principle in the student assessment is you trying to consider? So A, assessment should have positive consequence to students' learning. B, assessment should be balanced. C, assessment should be reliable. Or D, assessment should be fair. So what will be the correct answer? So letter D. So why D is the correct answer? So fairness in assessment means ensuring that all the learners can understand the content and that assessment. Next, if you review the test items to ensure that all learners understood the context used, what principle on the student's assessment is you trying to consider? So A, assessment should be positive consequence to student learning. B, assessment should be balanced. C, assessment should be reliable. D, assessment should be fair. So the correct answer is assessment should be fair. So why? So fairness in assessment means ensuring that all learners can understand the content and the assessment do not disadvantage any group. So reviewing items to ensure context clarity addresses these principles. So why not A? So A is assessment should have a positive consequence to students' learning. This is about impact of assessment on learning, but it doesn't address the fairness of the test context. Why not B? So assessment should be balanced. So balance refers to ensuring various types of assessment are used but doesn't directly addresses the clarity of the context for all students. Letter C, assessment should be reliable. So reliability refers to consistency of the result, but the clarity of the context is more related to fairness. So that's why the correct answer is letter D, which is assessment should be fair. So last, which of the following statement gives the most acceptable description of the relationship between assessment and evaluation in classroom settings? So A, assessment is the collection of student data that evaluation interprets or appraises if indicative of success or failure. So letter B, evaluation is the collection of the student data that assessments interprets or appraises if indicative of success or failure. Letter C, assessment is gathering of student quantitative data while evaluation provides the qualitative description of that data. Letter D, evaluation is gathering of student quantitative data while assessment provides the qualitative descriptions of that data. So what do you think will be the answer? So letter A. So assessment is the collection of student that data evaluation interprets or appraises in indicative of success or failure. So why A? So because assessment involves collecting data on student performance, for example, is through test or observation, while evaluation interprets this data to determine how well students have succeeded in achieving learning objectives or whether they need improvement. So why not B? The evaluation is the collection of student data that is assessment interprets or appraises if indicative of success or failure. So because this reverses the roles of assessment and evaluation. So assessment, let's remember that assessments gather data, then evaluation makes judgment. So why not letter C? So assessment is gathering of student quantitative data while evaluation provides the qualitative description of the data. So, because assessment often involves both quantitative and qualitative data, while evaluation interprets all data, not just giving a qualitative description. So, why not letter D? So, evaluation is the gathering of the student quantitative data while assessment provide qualitative description of that data. So, this is incorrect because evaluation doesn't just gather data, it analyzes the data to make judgment about success or failure. So, that's all. Thank you again, and I hope you gain a fruitful knowledge to us. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elrich Lipuaso. First question, which of the following statements give the most acceptable description of the relationship between assessment and evaluation in classroom setting? Letter A, assessment is the collection of student data that evaluation interpret or appraises if indicative of success or failure. Letter B, evaluation is the collection of student data that assessment interprets and appraises if indicative of success or failure. Letter C, assessment is the gathering of student quantitative data while evaluation provide the qualitative description of that data. And letter D, evaluation is the gathering of student quantitative data while assessment provide the qualitative description of that data. So you have 20 seconds to choose the best answer. The answer is letter A. Why letter A? Because assessment is a collection of data of student that evaluation interpret or appraises if indicative of success or failure. By using assessment, we can collect data. Then after that, we can evaluate of how many students fail on that question or how many students are fail on that subject. And after that, we will see if what question we need to improve or we need to change. So, number 3, our topic is all about diagnostic assessment. So, number 3, to find out what intervention program to offer to students who are consistently performing poorly in a test, what kind of assessment is best to administer? Letter A, summative assessment. Letter B, formative assessment. Letter C, diagnostic assessment. Or letter D, placement assessment. You have 20 seconds to answer the question. The answer is letter C, diagnostic assessment. Why diagnostic assessment? Because diagnostic assessment can help them or can help you to see the strength and weaknesses of a student. So by that, you will see you will help them to find what are their passion or what are subject they are good or they are fit. So in diagnostic assessment is all about measure or determining the student of what are they good into subject.
Hi, I'm Melissa Mipi Ortega. So the topic for today's discussion is about content validity. So the question is, Teacher Rose examined carefully if the test items she constructed for her quarterly test are based on the competencies to be tested. What test of validity was she trying to establish? Letter A, content validity. Letter B, concurrent validity. Letter C, predictive validity. Or letter D, construct validity. So the answer is letter A, content validity. Because content validity ensure the items of the test reflect the entire content of the competencies. They are intended to be measuring by looking at whether the test items essentially reflect the competencies to be tested here. So, Teacher Rose is establishing content validity. Hi, I'm Melissa Mipi Ortega. So, the topic for today's discussion is about student self-report. So, the question is, what method or assessing effective targets is the most common measurement tool, and it's also called written reflections? Letter A, teacher observation. Letter B, student self-report. Letter C, survey and questionnaire. Or letter D, peer ratings. So the answer is letter B, student self-report. So why student self-report? because student self-report are generally preferred because they involve reflective writing in which one can clearly express attitudes, feelings, or values on an issue. And this characteristic make them tool of a choice is measuring affective outcomes. Hi, I'm Alisa May P. Ortega. So the topic for today's discussion is about affective domain. So the question is, what domain does the growth of attitude or values fall under? Letter A, cognitive domain. Letter B, affective domain. Letter C, behavioral domain. Or letter D, psychomotor domain. So the answer is letter B, affective domain. So why affective domain? Because affective domain is concerned with emotion, attitudes, values, and feelings. So actually, growth of attitudes or values refers specifically to this domain because it revolves around how individual internalize and responds emotionally or morally to the situation. Hi, I'm Alisa May P. Ortega. So the topic for today's discussion is about evaluation. So the question is, Teacher J is collecting all possible evidence that could tell if a student should pass or fail. So what process is the teacher doing? Letter A, testing. Letter B, measuring. Letter C, evaluating. Or letter D, assessing. So the correct answer is letter C, evaluating. So why? Because evaluating involves the analysis and interpretation of evidence in order to reach a verdict. So, for example, whether or not a student should pass is an evaluation verdict. So, gathering evidence to support this verdict is essentially what a teacher does according to J. Thank you again, and I hope you gain fruitful knowledge to us. Bye!
For our last question, number 20, which is about performance-based grading. Question number 20 says, which is the basic principle underpinning the performance-based grading system? Letter A, it is a tool improving teaching learning. And that's all for our video questioner and answer. And I hope na yung mga questioner and mga answer na aming in-explain para sa inyo is naway marami kayong natutunan at napulot na kaalaman. And ayun lang, maraming salamat. Bye-bye!